Money answers all things, even the accusation, it is mammon. So there is sentence, not artificial intelligence calculated. Only I struggle articulating further. A loving the money, not mammon, is also known to lead. Loving money, not mammon, is also known to lead to a multitude of evil. It's the love of money that is the root of all kinds of evil. There's a difference because a person is going to need money. And somebody was needing some money from me today, so I was going to send them some money from the Walmart. And it turned into one of those First Amendment things where I have sent money to people from Walmart before. It's cheap. You give them the phone, the money, they give you a number, you give that number to the person and you tell them their name and how it's spelled exactly. And when they match that name and they can give you that number, they get the money. But not when Joaquin, a Mexican, goes into a rich Denver Walmart, gives them the number, gives them my phone number. They have him call me. I confirmed the number. And they want me to take a picture of the receipt and send it to them, and then they'll give him the money. Oh man, I was not in the mood. I was up early to get that money to him, and I'm worn out. This will be a short show. I should show the disclaimer in case something comes up disclaiming, disclaim away. The religious part of me is not going to agree with what they want you to go see your doctor about. I was studying more of this before I got distracted by the money in the Walmart when I thought everything would be as normal and I wouldn't have a manager from Peyton, Colorado tell me she's the manager of Walmart and that's been her policy for 5 years. Well, I went to the Walmart in my town. I called the corporate headquarters, and nobody's ever heard of that policy before. So I've got the incident number. Before that, in disruption. In the meantime, I was studying why, because I've talked about Japan. How could they have done so good in that worldwide battle of risk before they faked the atomic weapons to end a planned and staged division of the monies of World War II and the sacrifice of many, many lives? For they have been told this war is a war of self defense to obtain elbow room for the Japanese people, crowded into a few small islands with few natural resources, and to liberate a billion Oriental peoples from exploitation by the white race. This wasn't written by a Japanese, this was written by somebody else. Punch magazine. Was there another quote from them? There's this one. Japan had been kicking some butt. They beat Russia and some others. Let's see, what were they doing? Drilled in air raid defense, especially in fighting fires. The biggest dread of Japanese cities wasn't atomic weapons, it was the fire bombs that the United States and perfected. The biggest dread of Japanese cities fighting fires. Finally, they see the taxes and prices rising. They know all these things are not done for fun, and that war, real war, which only a short time ago seemed so far away, arms towards Nippon. That's what they call Japan, land of the gods. Well, we have that thing here. We have people taking over our country, and we got to fight them. Otherwise, it would never be good. So, this is something I was watching Drunga Stone Age Man Aboriginals from 1940s. I was watching this movie. I'm not going to subject you to it, but maybe later we'll look at some of these. Australia's on my mind. This is how desperate, this is what they were doing. They invented Darwin in the 1800s and all of their lies about there is no Bible, theosophy, and everything else. And when they found the people in the Aborigines, they claimed they were descendants of monkeys. This was proof of evolution. They hadn't evolved at all. They were still worshiping this rock that they claimed that it was to have died, and that this is one of the gods who turned into a stone. Well, yeah, I kid you not. Ancestors, this was that same video. It was ancestors who lived in the Stone Age. And it is lived today by those, the last survivors of that ancient Stone Age man. You know what Stone Age means. They're not white. White people came from monkeys too, but they evolved so much better and faster. Hi, Esther. I enjoyed reading your book the other day. It was nice. So, really, besides that, and the way I've been exhausted all day, gonna get up early. Lord willing, I'm counting on RJ having some Bible study with me. I did also look at dry stone. Look at these miles and miles. And then I was, because I've been looking at the millstone stuff. That's another worldwide phenomenon, this dry stone. Stack it up. Turn it into a refrigerator in the desert. Bury people. New Stonehenge. Or New Grange, I mean. And you can do it. I watched a video. The best people at doing it can do a mile a year. One person, 1 mile. And if nobody else was doing it in Ireland, this would have taken many men their lifetime, because this goes on quite a while. And the people who do it today, they're good at just making this a straight up wall. They can decorate them, but not like that. Not like that. Is this one of that thing there? Is this that? Oh, no, this was another thing I looked at. Wow. Let's just stop it right there. Here you go.
Which worked with Nazi Germany. After Hitler took power and began rearming, Germany imported large amounts of American goods. Creating a trade deficit, it needed dollars to cover. To raise dollars, the Reich Ministry of Economics under Hjalmar Schacht launched schemes like the Rückwanderer program. This involved selling.
I don't think he's not throwing a gang sign, a white power gang sign. For a while, they had it going on. You had white baseball leagues, black baseball leagues in the United States. You had white movies, you had black movies. If you want to be a black man in a white movie, you better, yes, boss, you better talk like that. I'm reading a cab right here. So it's J.P. Morgan Chase. It's Mercedes-Benz.
During World War II, Mercedes-Benz, then Daimler-Benz AG, worked closely with the Nazi
He
regime.
sounds like a
War
German,
included many
right?
Nazis, and the company produced military vehicles, aircraft engines for the Luftwaffe, and the bulletproof set. Post-war, it was denazified and permitted to resume production under American oversight. In 1988, the company contributed Adidas was founded in 1924 by Adolf Adi Dassler, later joined by his brother Rudolf, both becoming early members of the Nazi Party. Adolf took on a leadership role in the Hitler Youth until the war's end. During World War II,
Way to go, shoot.
ironically, occupying American troops went on to become some of the company's first major post-war customers. The brothers split in 1947 over disputes, with Adolf taking over Adidas and Rudolf creating Ruda, which later became Puma, sparking a bitter rivalry. Laurie, daughter of current heiress Françoise Bettencourt Meyers, was a known anti-Semite and supporter of the violent fascist group La Cagoule. He financed the group, hosted meetings at L'Oréal HQ, and was linked to their crimes. He collaborated with Nazi officials like SS commander Helmut Knochen and was
Never
involved
heard
in
of
the
him.
deportation of French Jews and execution of resistance fighters. BMW's largest shareholders, the Quandt family, to marry Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's close ally and propaganda minister. After the war, the Quandts became major shareholders.
The reason we're going all through this, in case anybody wants to question, and plus I'm not monetized and I'm disclaimed, is I'm showing it. It looks like everybody that's still big money, they've got funded it by the fiat money of the United States covering the debts of Germany, because Germany was like, oh, we like your eugenics. We like your one drop rule. Teach us more. Teach us more. And then we'll come help you build a nuclear weapons with the rockets to Mars.
In BMW, which itself had supplied the Nazi Germany's war machine. A Nazi party and SS member, Ferdinand V1 flying bomb. Ferdinand Porsche's close relationship with Hitler secured him major contracts. In his factories, shifted the brand's focus. Since then, the company has contributed $2.5 million to a Nazi regime's Strength Through Joy program, with the goal of producing an affordable car for the German people. Designed by Ferdinand Porsche, this car became the Volkswagen Beetle. While Porsche did
Porsche was those guys who did the V2 rockets to the moon.
Historians have estimated about 80% of the company's wartime workforce consisted of slave labor. Plant managers actively requested prisoners from camps like Arbeitsdorf, largest car maker, and shifted to military production during World War II, building tanks, aircraft engines, and submarine parts. It exploited over 18,000 for 4,500 deaths at Leitmeritz. Audi later admitted processing machines starting in the early 1930s. These machines were essential for Nazi censuses and tracking systems that identified Jews and other targeted groups across.
And they famously kept their trains running on time.
Germany and occupied Europe. The data enabled efficient deportations and camp internments, with IBM machines operating.
And they kept the trains running on time, and people thought that was awesome.
Places like Dachau, IBM sent technicians to train SS, keeping control from New York. In 1940, IBM created a Dutch branch that helped identify Jews for deportation in the Netherlands. In a 2000 IG Farben had a direct deal with the SS for slave labor, over 83,000 at Auschwitz alone, and requested new prisoners when others died. A lab at Birkenau, run by Bayer, then part of IG Farben, infected women with.
Hey, man, those poison gases aren't going to make themselves after they're invented. Somebody's got to do it.
Diseases like diphtheria and tuberculosis for experimentation. Successor companies. Bayer's Nazi ties resurfaced in 1999 during a lawsuit over human experiments, accusing officials of bribing Nazis to access prisoners. Sure, it could continue functioning even if hostilities broke out between Germany and the US. Considered important for the Nazi war machine, GM's leadership opposed the New Deal and supported Hitler. Vice President James D. Mooney met operating factories in Auschwitz, Ravensbrück, and Lublin, using concentration camp prisoners rented from the SS. At Ravensbrück, Siemens built production barracks for 1970 by John D. Rockefeller. Via its German subsidiary, in which it held 50% stakes, it dominated Germany's fuel market by 1935. It had close ties to IG regime, firing
This is the person who gave Donald Trump his money.
Jewish employees, seizing Jewish assets, and loaning funds to build the IG Farben and Auschwitz facility. Hugo Boss.
Oh, you like those leather Nazi boots?
In 1931,
Those leather jackets?
founder Hugo Ferdinand Boss joined the Nazi Party and became a sponsoring member of the SS.
You make them when you got 500,000 soldiers and they all need a uniform, they might as well go in style.
The company received government contracts and produced uniforms for the SA, SS, and later the Wehrmacht, though Hugo was not involved in their design. The company used forced laborers, mostly Soviet and Polish women, and prisoners of war during World War II. Management 2000, the company joined a compensation fund and in 2011 issued a statement allowed to operate in Hitler's Germany after others like Keystone and SS member Rudolf August Oetker. It supported the Nazi war effort by supplying pudding mixes and munitions to German troops and used slave labor in its facilities. The family profited from close ties to the regime and their private...
I'll admit, this is one I'm not familiar with. Anybody else? I've never heard of them.
Bank employed Rudolf von Ribbentrop, son of Minister of Foreign Affairs Joachim von Ribbentrop. Rudolf August claimed he didn't know the extent of the concentration camps, despite leadership was required to join the party, and the company became a key part of the Nazi war economy during its early years. In 1932, it provided Hitler with a free campaign aircraft and equipment for the Nazi regime, with Ford Werke using over 12,000 forced laborers by 1944. Founder Henry Ford was a known anti-Semite, author of The International Jew, praised by Hitler in Mein Kampf, and awarded the Grand Cross of the German of War during...
Whenever they talk about, these white people in the United States were anti-Jewish, they were anti-black, and anything with a can, African, Mexican, Puerto Rican. That's what they say what are you doing? I went out shooting at some cans. And it's funny to them. We did it.
For the Nazi regime, with Ford Werke using over 12,000 forced laborers by 1944. Founder Henry Ford was a known anti-Semite,
racist,
the International Jew, praised by Hitler
white
in
power,
Mein Kampf, and awarded the Grand Cross of the German Eagle in 1938. While Ford himself had little direct involvement by the war's later years, his company's German arm maintained ties to Nazi officials and supported the war effort. In the year 2000, Ford began, the German subsidy was cut off from the Coca-Cola syrup due to Allied embargoes and Nazi trade restrictions. Facing shortages, managing director Max Kite contact between the Coca-Cola company and Max Kite's German branch was cut off. But he continued to sell Fanta to the German public, making large profits for the company. After the war, Coca-Cola too continuing production throughout the war. Though not involved in weapons, its German branches supplied food to civilians and the military. Nestlé fed both sides, holding contracts with the German army and saw rising sales in Germany. In August 1933, Adolf Hitler...
That's ITT. We saw IG Farben, IBM, Ford, Standard Oil, and I'm sure there are many more. What can you do when you take all the money? And now they're taking it away from us and they're planning something. It's going to happen right here in your lifetime on this flat earth nation with its golden age past, because the mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? We should be and are trying to prove we have your best interest at heart by being one faithful, one called, One chosen, called, chosen, and faithful, because many are called, few are chosen. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakaman. Adios, amigos.